Hello, welcome back to Happy Epicor Homestead. I hope the lighting is better today. It might be a little severe, but I'm working on that. I have something really special for you today. I went to visit one of my girlfriends, Ashton, and she gifted me with this beautiful rabbit. She butchered it this morning, and she provided me with the meat, and all of the extra things from the bunny went to sustain the animals on her farm. The meat is for our dinner, and this hide is for me to tan, and that's what I want to show you today. She left it virtually completely intact, and so we have the feet, and I'm just going to remove those, wash them, and put them in an alcohol wash. So let's get started with that. So right behind the joint, you want to take a very sharp knife and just cut that off. And you'll do that for all 4 feet. Okay, now that the feet are off, we're going to go ahead and get those washed up. We will put them in a pint-sized jar with a plastic lid and some alcohol. This is a 70% isopropyl alcohol, and they're going to soak for 24 hours. Once the feet are off, we're going to open this hide all the way up, and we're going to cover it with salt. I'm going through the armholes now and just slicing them open. It's important that all of the skin can be exposed to the air to be dried. Now that the hide is completely opened up, we're just going to spread it out so that everything is exposed and we can apply the salt. At this point, if you want to cut the tail off, you can. I had to go and get more salt that wasn't all like chunky like this salt here, and I took that opportunity to go ahead and wash the rabbit's feet. So I'm just going to talk to you about that first. And you can do the tail as well. And you're just going to put your I just washed them with hand soap, and bone down into a mason jar. And you're going to cover that with the alcohol. All the way up to the top. Now this is only step 1 for the rabbit feet, and it will sit here for 2 days. We're just going to set this off to the side and get back to working on this hide. So we're going to sprinkle it with salt, again like we were doing before. I'm going to go ahead and take these chunks off because it's really not helpful to us, although it is okay if you want to use coarse salt. You're going to want to cover all of the flesh. Get all the nooks and crannies. And be gentle when you're pulling on the outside edges. Go ahead and massage the salt in, making sure every part of the flesh is covered. Making sure that you get the little feet areas as well. Now that this hide is covered in salt, we are going to let it rest for 48 hours. This container of rabbit's feet and also the tail, which I will add in just a moment, will also rest for 48 hours. So I will see you back in 2 days and we'll go to the next step for both of these procedures. And I just want to take a quick moment to remind you that my friend Ashton, who so graciously provided this to me and taught me how to do this, she's a real estate agent. So if you live in the Pacific Northwest, go ahead and send me a message if you'd like me to connect you to her. She is very successful and just a wonderful person. I will see you all in 2 days. Hi, okay, it's been 48 hours. We have the rabbit feet that have been in the alcohol for 2 days. I'm going to take these inside and wash them, and I'll show you what we're going to do with them next. But first I want to see how dry this skin is with the salt. So I'm going to get my hair out of the way and see what's going on here. We want to remove the salt. And be very careful as you're picking up the rabbit skin. We don't want to tear it at all. So this is not ready. It is still quite wet. And I'm gonna go ahead and just put a new layer of salt on. I'm gonna start by using some of this salt that was on the top that hasn't been absorbed into the skin. While I go run to another building to get some extra salt, I'm gonna go ahead and wash these rabbit's feet, and I'll show you the next step once the alcohol is drained out and the feet are clean. Be right back. I brought in some more salt, so we're gonna go ahead and cover this back up. Give it really good coverage and massage it in. Okay, when it looks like the ground in your lawn and your garden after a good snow, you know you've got enough in. I'm gonna go ahead and just press this in a little bit, and then we're gonna leave it here for another 48 hours. By that time, I feel very confident we'll be ready to start the scraping process. All right, now that we have this situated for the next 48 hours, I did take the rabbit's feet and the tail out of the alcohol wash, and I have replaced the jar with some warm water. And into the warm water, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of borax. I'm using just one of these leak-proof plastic lids that come with ball jars. So I'm going to just kind of mix this up a little bit. And then I'm gonna put the feet and the tail into the jar. And I'm going to put the exposed bone side down. We're nice and full. I'm actually spilling out a little bit, so I'm gonna get a little cloth to kind of clean this up a bit, and then we'll put the lid on. Make sure that everything is covered. The liquid is full all the way to the very top. So everything is covered in the borax water solution. So since we have to do another 48 hours with the salt because of how cold and kind of wet it is in this environment, it's convenient. I'm gonna actually turn up the temperature in this room just a little bit, and then in 2 days I'm gonna come back and show you what we're gonna do next. See you soon. All right, it's been another 2 days. We're going to check and see if this skin is dry. Before we do that though, we're gonna take the rabbit's feet out of the borax solution and just give them a little rinse. Now, once they're all rinsed off, you want to place them on a drying rack so that the air can get, on the top and the bottom. Now that the feet and the tail there are pretty much rinsed off, we're just gonna let them dry for a while. Let's just check this out first and see if this is dry yet. And so as you can see, it's not bendy anymore. So we're just gonna take the salt off. Okay, it's all nice and dry now. Okay, and making sure that your hands are dry. Take a side of a spoon or some kind of gentle scraping tool. This tears easily, so you just want to be gentle in removing the membranes. Okay, I'm going to clean up my workspace first before we actually really dig into this, because I just don't want to spread the salt all over the place. Okay, this is much cleaner workspace now, and let's just get started. Since I'm having a little bit of a hard time flushing this, I'm just going to rehydrate it a little bit, make sure that I have all this salt off too. And that's fine. It's okay if it gets wet at this point because it's been dried. So hopefully rehydrating this a little bit is going to help me get the flush off a little bit easier, because I'm kind of struggling over here. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep removing this, the flesh from the rabbit hide, and I will get back to you when it's all done. Well, this is as done as it's going to get. I've got as much of the membrane off as I can. I've gotten really way too close to the fur in so many spots, which is why this is titled My Journey. I am not an expert on this, and I definitely could use some more experience. I'm going to start with the next step. As you can see here, this is what I've scraped off. You can see multiple spots where I got way too deep, and some areas where there's no membrane, but I've gotten it, just the leather pulled up. So this won't be my next career, don't worry. The next step in this process, let me get rid of this a little bit here. I've got a trash can right next to me. I clean up my workspace a little bit. We're gonna take an egg. This egg is from our chickens. It was laid yesterday. It has not been washed. We're only going to use the egg yolk. Okay, and then don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. I mean, if you were doing this with me, your hands were already dirty. And we're just gonna spread the egg yolk all through this hide. And you want to get every part where the flesh is and just spread it out. We'll be washing it later. So if you get a little bit in the fur, that's okay. Try not to be crazy about it though. And get into your nooks and crannies. All the way up to the edges. And if you run out, grab another egg yolk. Now that we have the yolk entirely spread out and massaged in, we're going to put a wet towel on top. Now this building here doesn't have water, so I've got some towels here and some clean water. I'm gonna get the towel wet, but we're gonna wring it out. We don't wanna soak this down. So just a damp towel here. Whoa, I'm making a mess. Typical. Now that our wet towel is on, we're just gonna let this sit for another 48 hours. And we will come back and do the next step after that. See you soon. All right, everybody, we're back. It's been 2 days since we did the egg wash on this hide, and now it's time to rinse it and wash it. I have dog shampoo. It's odor controlling. It's gonna make this smell really nice. Kind of like my dog. Let's get started. Now that it's nice and wet, we'll just start washing all of the egg yolk off and get the fur nice and clean. Right, now that sorry about my dog. I guess he thinks he should be getting a bath too. Now that this is clean, we're gonna get it all rinsed off. Now that our bunny is all clean, we just want to get some of this water off. And I'll show you how we'll do that without ruining it. It's really fragile right now. You want to pick it up carefully and just squeeze the water out. If you twist it, you're probably going to rip it. Now we'll squeeze that out. And we'll take it inside so that the wildlife out here doesn't get curious. And I'll show you what we're going to do next. All right, it looks a little bit like a drowned rat right now, doesn't it? I have this on a glass table. just so that if I put it on wood, it might ruin the wood. So we're just going to use this. I have a towel here, and we're going to very gently open it all the way up. And it's pretty fragile at this point. Also, I really didn't do a very good job. So even though my skills are very lacking, this method is a good tried and true method. Works for a lot of people. I just need a ton more practice. But I'm always excited to try new things, and this was new for me. All right, now that we have it opened up, we're gonna wanna stretch it. You won't be able to stretch it once it's dry, and you're gonna wanna be really careful with it. You can see here where I've already ripped a few spots and got super thin, and I just, didn't do a very good job. So I'm gonna be pretty careful when I'm stretching it, and I'll stretch it a couple of times throughout the afternoon as it continues to dry. You can just stretch it in all directions. Hold it down a little bit. Try not to be right on the edge. This is so paper thin over here. Okay, got it nice and flat. It's stretched out. And I'll keep an eye on this for the rest of the evening, and once it's dry, I'll show you the very last step. Okay, see you soon. Hi everybody, it is time to bring this project to a close. The skin is dry. It is not supple like I was kind of hoping it would be. It is dry. It looks good. It's thin in some places, but otherwise, I mean, I think it looks good, you know, for my first time. So the last thing we need to do is put some mink oil over all of the skin. And we're just going to massage it in. Now that the mink oil is on, I'm just going to flip it over, and you can see how just beautiful and soft this is. I love it. It's very soft. And also the feet are done. They're all completely dry. You can take a dog brush if you wanted to brush this out, and just be really gentle, and you can brush it like you were brushing a very fragile dog, because the hair will come out if you're too aggressive. So just a nice light brush is plenty. And I'll do the same thing with the feet. Now, I know a lot of people make keychains out of these. I'm not doing that. No knock against anybody who does, but we're not going to do that. Well, that's it for this adventure. Thank you for joining me on my very first time ever tanning a rabbit hide. I know I didn't do it perfectly, so I'm not necessarily going to suggest that you take my advice. I think I did, like, the process is good. I know it's a good process, but I was definitely a little heavy-handed on removing the membrane, and I could have been a lot more gentle. And I think practice is key when you're tanning hides. At least it will be for me. I do hope that you found this video at least somewhat helpful. But there are a lot of others out there that really truly know what they are doing, and I just don't want you to get discouraged if this is your first time. Like me, I'm a little discouraged, but I know that some of these things really just do take practice. So thanks for joining me. Thank you, Ashton. I appreciate you. Thank you for gifting this to me and teaching me how to do it. Yeah, I guess that's it. So have a good day, everybody. Bye.